Hello, welcome to Firearms of America, and today we have another boot review, and this is Merrell Thermo Chill, a very popular winter waterproof boot on Amazon. Overall, I am very impressed with it. It's very comfortable. I think the price is great. Currently it's 75 bucks on Amazon. So, if you're looking at it, I definitely recommend. That was a brief overview. But if you're ready to watch the whole review, let's get into it. As some of you already know, this review is specifically for my ultimate survival boots section. Basically, if this was your last boot, you know, if you lived in a cooler climate and you were planning your survival boot to be something that handles very well in the snow and the ice, would this be a good overall boot? Something that you could put on and walk for a very long time, wear it for a very long time, something really comfortable. This is what we're gonna try to find out. And how we make the judgment is we do the judgment based on 8 different criteria. All right, let's get into it. Criteria number 1. The comfort level, of course, probably one of the most important things. In order to test the comfort level of the boots that I review on this channel, all of them I do the same thing. I do a 3-mile run, no stopping, no excuses. Sometimes it's pretty hard. And a 5-mile walk right after the run. Again, without stopping, without taking any breaks. And the total wear time of the boot is most of the times is between 7 and 8 hours. So, what can I say about this boot? I am honestly surprised with the comfort level. They are definitely very comfortable, and there are a few factors that contribute to the comfort level. Let me get the first one out of the way, so you know exactly what I am talking about here. Let's take a look at the weight. So the weight of this boot is 19.19, and I think it's a very impressive weight considering that these boots do have 200 grams of insulation. I think that is really great for a winter boot to be under 20 ounce. And I say it all the time, whenever it comes to running, and obviously, you know, boots, you have to keep in mind, boots definitely going to be heavier than running sneakers, but as long as it is under 20 ounce, you can manage the run without too much struggle. Anything over 20 ounce, then you start feeling it. Then you will start getting fatigued after 1.5 mile. Obviously, it depends on everybody's different. Depends on your skill level, right? How good you run. But anything over 20 ounce, you're gonna struggle. Doesn't matter how good you are. But under 20 ounce, pretty decent. So this is very close to 20 ounce, 19.19. Okay, so another important factor that contributes to the comfort level is, of course, the flexibility of the bottom sole. And as you can see, the bottom sole is actually very flexible. You wouldn't think just looking at it, because it really looks just massive, this bottom sole. And we're gonna talk more about it later in the outsole section. But overall, you know, surprisingly, it is very flexible. So whenever you're running, you can run properly without putting too much strength on your ankles and, of course, on your knees. Another factor that contributes to the comfort level is, of course, the inner sole. And let me take it out so you can actually have the visual of the inner sole. As you can see, it is actually very nicely shaped. Sometimes I have boots on this channel that are just, you know, basic flat inner sole. Sometimes it works, but whenever you have a very nicely shaped inner sole, of course, that contributes to the comfort level, because now your foot is more in place and it doesn't slide around. And as you can see, there's a nice bed here for the heel. Again, prevents you from sliding back and forth. Really good. I definitely love the inner sole. And as you can see, there are some clear holes, vents, the whole vent system here to kind of keep your feet from overheating, which we're gonna talk about a little bit later as well. So let me mention really quickly another very important factor that contributes to the comfort level is, of course, the shaft itself. And the parts of the shaft, of course, are, you know, the main part of the boot, right? And also the inner side of the tongue. And this feels so nice and so comfortable. It's like wearing sleepers, to be honest. You know, you can wear these boots without the socks at all, and you will still feel comfortable, which is awesome. A lot of times boots, if you are not wearing longer socks, they start rubbing, especially the inner side of the tongue starts rubbing on your shins and becomes uncomfortable. Not the case with these boots. I absolutely love it. So overall, on the comfort level, I can give this boots a very, very solid 9 out of 10. I cannot give it a 10 out of 10, literally just because the weight is pushing it. It's close to 20 ounce. But again, it's really not a complaint because, like I said, this is a winter boot. There are 200 grams of insulation here, so you have to keep that in mind. All right, let's move on to the criteria number 2, proofing and protection. Yes, these boots are waterproof, so let's get that out of the way. Nothing special. This is not a Gore-Tex. This is just waterproofing from Merrell themselves, so keep that in mind. I didn't have any problems with it, so can't say anything bad about it. Now, whenever it comes to the protection, I wanted to mention here a few important things. First of all, as you can see, there is this rubber layer that goes along the bottom side of the boot, and it goes all the way up here to the toe box, covering most of the toe box, which I really, really do like. It is definitely a harder rubber, and it will protect you from some impact, even the small rocks falling on your toe. This will definitely protect you. It's not a hard toe, don't get me wrong. It's not a, you know, steel toe or a composite toe or anything like that. But having this harder rubber on a toe box can definitely give you a lot of extra protection. And again, because this is not a steel toe or a composite toe, this does not add up to the weight, because whenever you have those toes, the weight just dramatically quickly increases. Of course, you have all of this going all the way to the heel, which also gives you extra protection. The only thing I can't say much about the protection is the ankles. There isn't really a lot going on. There's this little leather piece, and then it's just this mesh that really does not give you any protection at all. So I kind of wish that Merrell did implement something extra for the ankles, maybe the same harder rubber design going somehow up, just to give you something for the ankles, because, you know, you have to keep those things in mind. Like ankles, they're one of the areas you want to protect. And of course, you do have a nice amount of protection from the bottom, from the outsole, because this very hard rubber that we're gonna talk a little bit later. Okay, let's move on to the criteria number 3, the quality and design features. Now, like I said, these are very popular on Amazon. Currently, there are more than 200 reviews and almost 5 stars, so people do like these boots, and I can definitely see why. Now, whenever it comes to design features, usually here I like to talk about the lacing system, and I absolutely love the lacing system of this boot. It slides so nice and easy. The strings are so great. Really, you can take off these boots and put them on very fast without any problems. I absolutely love it. It's really great. I don't know what exactly contributes to this easiness of, maybe it's this metal hardware that they use, the closed hooks on the top. As you can see, they use these material hooks here on the bottom, which most of the times, in my experience, they are actually, you know, they actually make it harder to tighten your boots, but not the case here. I absolutely love it. Yes, like I said, there are 2 pairs of closed hooks here on the top. Some people prefer open hooks, some people prefer closed hooks. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. And these are metal, just in case you are wondering. Okay, so done with the quality and the design features. Let's move on to the outsole traction and stability. And as you can see, there is a lot of aggression going on here in the outsole. Definitely pretty good on the snow, definitely pretty good on the ice. But besides those things, I also tested them on a lot of other surfaces. I tested them on tarmac and new tarmac, older asphalt. I tested them on a regular trail surface. I tested them on wet rocks, you know, going up the mountain, and tested them on the sand. I tested them in a dry sand, wet sand, the rocky road, and of course flat, shiny surfaces like marble and tile. So I tested them on a lot of different surfaces. Overall, they perform well on most of the surfaces. They are not very good in the sand because the grooves are so big and so aggressive. The sand tends to, especially wetter sand, it tends to get stuck between the grooves. The bottom sole becomes flatter, a little bit more slippery, and boots definitely get much heavier. So keep that in mind. Not very good for snow, but they do handle pretty good on the ice and on the snow. But the only thing that I wanted to mention here on the outsole, my main complaint, right? Because obviously, you know, if you're buying these boots, you're probably not buying them for the sand, so it's kind of pointless to say that. But one thing I wanted to let you know that I am not big fan of these boots on flat surfaces, on shiny surfaces like tile and marble, for one specific reason. Because the grooves, the endings of the grooves, as you can see, they are not hard enough, in my opinion, to handle well, to give you a good traction on shiny surfaces. Now, they're not slippery, but if you are, for example, running and you're making a quick stop, this play in the grooves gives you extra of that overslide, and that can throw you off balance. Just keep in mind, again, if you're buying these boots, you're probably not planning to run in these boots on tile and marble and stuff like that. But you know, as part of this review, because this is a survival review and because survival situations, they can be literally whatever you can imagine, I have to talk about literally whatever we can imagine. I'm a big fan of these grooves right here on the front and on the back. I really wish a lot of other manufacturers, boot manufacturers, implemented this. This is pretty good. I also wish, one little suggestion to Merrell, if you guys are watching, probably not, but I'll say it anyway. I wish that you guys implemented these same grooves here on the sides, so that whenever you're climbing something like a rope or a tree, you have, because this is the areas that you use, you have that extra aggression. Just a suggestion. Anyway, let's be done with this outsole traction stability. Let's move on to the criteria number 5, temperature. Like I said, these have 200 grams of insulation. I have tested them in the winter, probably a couple of months ago in Tennessee, in Smoky Mountains, and the temperature outside it wasn't that cold. It was about 30 degrees, so it's really not enough to test how cool this boot can go. So if you do have experience with colder temperatures in these boots, let everybody know in the comments below. It will be very helpful. But in 30 degrees Fahrenheit, absolutely no problems without any kind of special socks. In fact, I was just wearing my short Florida socks. Now, speaking of Florida, I did the run in my normal Florida terrain here around my house, and it was about 90 degrees outside, and I was not overheating at all, so pretty good. They are still very breathable because the inner sole is very breathable. There are those vents, they do the job, so you are not overheating. I am impressed overall with the insulation and everything. Okay, so let's move on to the criteria number 6, which is the sizing. This is a size 10, and I always get my boots half a size bigger than my normal shoe size. Just a good recommendation that I got from one of my hiking friends, professional hiking friends, who did the Appalachian Trail. I was looking at the Appalachian Trail, and this just looks too tough for me. But he did it. And he was the one who recommended me to always get boots half, and hiking shoes as well, whatever you use for long distances, going up and down the hills, always get half a size bigger so that you have a little bit of that extra space whenever you're going down the hill. Your toe is not banging on the front of the toe box. And really, that was a great advice. And yes, that's what I've been doing since. And yes, these boots are definitely true to the size, and half a size bigger, they definitely do give you a little bit of that extra. Okay, so let's move on to the criteria number 7, which is balance of application. Basically, if this really was, Merrell, your last boot that you put on, or maybe you were wearing it already, and something terrible happened, and now you had to survive and walk, sleep in these boots without taking them off, and just try to survive, you know, do all of these things that are needed to survive. Would this be a good boot to survive in? I think if you are living in a colder climate, and if you are planning this boot as your winter boot, as your winter survival boot, I think this definitely can be a really good option for your survival boot. Now, if you are more living in like Florida or something like that, where it doesn't really get cold, of course, might not be the best option out there. But nevertheless, I think overall this is definitely a great boot, and if you're looking at it in $75, which let's move on to that. Let's move on to the criterion number 8, which is the price. $75, I think there isn't really a lot of competition. There are a few winter boots that I can recommend. For example, Columbia Omni Heat. Check them out. I have done the review on this channel. They are in the same price range. They are very similar in the comfort level. They're very comfortable. They're a little bit lighter. See what you prefer more. Do you prefer more lightness? Do you prefer more protection? These do offer more protection but are a little bit heavier. Columbia's, they offer less protection but a bit lighter. So again, these are the things that you play with whenever you're picking your boot. But overall, I think this is definitely a good boot. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you consider this boot as your winter boot, your hiking boot, or would you consider it as your survival boot? This was Merrell, and you were watching Firearms of America. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.